What will the review score be for Mass Effect Andromeda? Here to, of course, discuss it with me is Zach Sharps. Hey, man.
Hey man, good to be here to talk about some Mass Effect.
Yes, first, we, of course, have to discuss the Zelda review because, yeah, you won.
That's true. That's true. I
Because
definitely did
it's...
not underestimate Nintendo fans. That's for sure.
No. And the quality of the game,
And
of
the
course.
quality
No,
of the games, yeah, of course.
yeah, we do some sort of review prediction, like series here on Your Raptor, where we discuss and predict what we think the Metacritic score will be once we record the next review prediction. So right now, Zelda is at a 98. That's like the most impressive Metacritic score in a very long time. And I thought it would be 93, and you thought it would be 94 and up. So yeah, you won. You made the right bet to go higher than me, than lower. But this time you will start. You will make your first prediction for Mass Effect. Of course, the game is coming out. It's pretty anticipated. It was a little bit a weird situation where the rollout was pretty weird at E3. They didn't really show a lot. Then at the PlayStation Experience, or at the PlayStation 4 Pro review event, we saw the first real gameplay. Then later at the Game Awards, they showed a first real big chunk of gameplay. And then the release date, and it was like, whoa, it's really coming out, in a few months. That's insane. And right now they're rolling out a new video like almost every day. It's insane. We know it's coming, and from what we heard, it looks pretty promising. Of course, we both did not play it yet, but yeah, it will be interesting. So, what do you think? What do you think? Will this game be good?
Yeah, so I think it will definitely be good. Whether or not it will be excellent or superb or like anything beyond that be a great game, that's still left to, for us to see when we actually play it. But it has the foundation there. The game looks like it's going to be a very visually stunning game from all the gameplay we've seen that they've been pumping out consistently lately. The exploration looks like it's either going to be a great feature or a feature that leaves a lot to be desired, especially in terms of like the quality of that exploration content. You can have as many planets as you want, but quite honestly, if each of those planets don't really offer too much in terms of like substance, then they're not really that valuable as an asset. So I worry in that regard with this game, whether or not it's going to try to do too much and then fall short. But that said, it's a Mass Effect game. It's a new start for them, and it's a game
Another studio also.
Yeah, another studio. It's one of those games that I think will still perform well, and
Yeah,
I think the quality of it will at least be good enough to push it above the 80s. But I'm not sure whether or not you want to give me the score yet, or if you want to.
Let's look at the other Mass Effect games. I got them in front of me now. For Metacritic, I think you already looked at that as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, Mass Effect 3, or let's start with the first one. It has on PC an 89 on Metacritic, of course, launched in 2008. Then Mass Effect 2, that's like the highly praised Mass Effect game. Of course, everyone loved that game. That was, of course, when the series was also getting huge, and also a PS3 release, while the first Mass Effect really launched on PS3 or a PlayStation platform like later. So that one got a 94 on Metacritic, pretty impressive. And then we look at Mass Effect 3 and we have like, of course, two different scores. We have one for the console version, a 93 for Mass Effect 3, and for the PC version, an 89. And of course this was, with the backlash of the ending as well. But in the end it did not really impact, I think, a lot of the story or scores, because the scores are still pretty high. And they of course fixed the ending as well, but yeah, that did not impact the score as well. So it's like the really high 8s, and lower 9. So yeah, it's getting a lot of praise here. Will Mass Effect Andromeda be in the same league? Will it be a little bit lower, or will it be a little bit higher? And I think that a little bit higher will be pretty huge, but I don't think that will happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got attached to Shepard throughout the series. A lot of people got really attached to their choices, the people they had with them, and that's why Mass Effect 3's ending was such a fiasco, because a lot of what you did throughout the series just did not matter at all. It was just that final decision. And so going into Andromeda, it's going to be interesting to see how people really receive the fact that it's new people, it's new choices, and sort of build up over time. Some people probably will see it as a positive, some others might not see it as a good thing. And that's one thing that I'm curious how people are going to receive it as. Everyone already knows it's a new thing. It's not like people are going to be thrown off by that, but that attachment to the previous cast is what I think could possibly hold back Andromeda, because maybe the cast of this one may not be as special as a, just a unit. And so there's a lot of questions here. There's a lot of elements that I could see just being very bland, at least in regards to what I look for in an open world game. Well, but when I look at this, when I have this particular number in my head in terms of what I think that it will get, or around what it will get, I'm more thinking about the demand for a Mass Effect game and how hyped people are for this thing, how reviewers are hyped for this thing.
Yeah, it's 5 years
positivity,
since the
positivity just surrounding it all. And the fact that the ending, it still burns for a lot of people, but it's not, it's pretty much, faded away. Not necessarily out of existence, but people have sort of forgive them and, sort of forgotten a sense. So
they of course updated it as well, and
it was a band-aid fix they did, but at least they went back and we screwed up, we won't make this mistake again. But Andromeda, I don't think we'll have that issue at all, because if they plan on making this another trilogy, you don't really have to worry about the ending being too terrible in that regard. They could sort of just branch it out if they want. If I were to have to give it a score based off the previous Mass Effects being in the high 80s, if you look at PC ratings, and high 90s or lower 90s if you look at consoles, I think I honestly would have to give it I think it's going to get a 91. A 91 sounds about right, because it's a fresh start. I think that people will not like how far it sort of went as far as scope. I think a lot of people in the reviews are going to say, okay, I wish they would just honed it in and focused on the quality of what's there. But I think that that's not going to stop them from giving it at least a 9.1. So I'm going to go with a 91.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a solid score. And it's also like in between of the, it's like higher than the first Mass Effect game, but a little less than Mass Effect 2 and the highest score that Mass Effect 3 got on PS3. So I think that that's a safe bet. So, and that would of course be an amazing score for this game. And that would mean that March and February, if we count Horizon as well, that this month is just the last 28 days were just crazy. But I think you're close. I'm gonna go a little bit lower though, and
really,
and then the safe answer is of course a 90. That's of course still really high. But I think that, it's in the studio. Of course, they got some guys from the previous Mass Effect games in the team. But I still think that they have to, find their footing. It's the first game from this, potentially new trilogy that they want to create. So, I think it's also like a game that plays it pretty safe, as in the things that we see from the gameplay and from the footage. I mean, it looks beautiful looking game. But there's not a lot of things that, for example, push this franchise or the RPG single player genre forward. I think that it's just a really solid game. So I think that I wouldn't be surprised if the higher 8 scores will be more common than the 9s.
What's interesting too is I could see Horizon and Zelda hurting it in the eyes of reviewers if they had the same reviewers reviewing, one and then the other one afterwards. Because a lot of people who've played Horizon, I've mentioned, it's just like going to Zelda or Zelda to Horizon. It's not necessarily the same game, but it feels somewhat the same in regards to some of the mechanics you're doing, some of the gameplay you're doing. And so if they go from, Horizon to Zelda to Andromeda, or Zelda to Horizon to Andromeda, that's going to be a possible overload of that type of game, where it's more of an RPG, but a lot of exploration and a lot of sort of grinding and whatnot within the game. So yeah, and then if you look at like Dragon Age Inquisition, I see that Andromeda is probably going to be influenced at least a little bit. They went bigger with the exploration aspect, which makes me think, okay, well, there's going to be some fluff content here. That there's has to be. All these planets are not going to be amazing. It's just not the case. The homeworld planets probably will be, but with Inquisition got like an 89, got 85, 85, so it hovered in the high 80s. So I definitely could see maybe too much influence from there being pushed into Andromeda, and as a result getting your score or lower. But I'm hoping that's not the case. I have a positive sort of thought in my mind that they're at least going to create a high 90s game or a 90s game, and I'll be satisfied in the end. So.
I think that Mass Effect can really, like, if we compare it again to Horizon and Zelda, they can really like win in terms of like story and choices and dialogue and stuff like that. Because
yeah, exactly.
With Horizon, the gameplay will probably be better in Horizon. The amount of like creativity and freedom and stuff like that in Zelda will probably be the best of the three. But in terms of story, in terms of dialogue, Bioware of course knows what they are doing.
Exactly.
And so I think that because there are choices in Horizon, but in the end they don't really matter. You still get the same ending and stuff like that. And obviously in this Mass Effect game it will be different. So So okay, now I think that we covered a lot. We will maybe discuss a lot of more Mass Effect stuff when the time comes, when the game is almost out. So thanks a lot for watching. Let us know what you think the review score, the Metacritic, so like the average score for Mass Effect will be in the comments down below. Subscribe for way more gaming discussions with Zach. Zach, thank you. Like the video if you did, and goodbye.
Goodbye.